Hello, everybody. Reed here. Hey, I have a few interesting. This next topic is on narcissism as a network, right? And I ran across some interesting conversations about Trump and how he wanted the um, Nobel Peace Prize. Let me see. Let me see here. Uh, Let me go back to like a couple of days ago. Look here.
Are you still stuffing your kangaroo
It tells
hoodie?
you a lot about the grandiosity and the elevated self-esteem, also lack of insight that the narcissist has. Despite all of this horrendous things, he's participating in a genocide. He's participating in a genocide, and he believes the world is going to acknowledge him with a Nobel Peace Prize. You see the delusional and distorted thinking that the narcissists have, and that's all of theirs. There is no way, I mean, absolutely no way you're going to convince him that he doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. This is sick. Let's see here.
That in 5 billion years, we're all going to die. The human race is going to be gone because the Earth is going to be consumed by the sun. And I was like, what? And I asked Alexa, I said, is that true? And she said, directions can deadlift a Cybertruck. For some, literally,
President of the United States being involved. Told about what's going on, and
job is, it's important to remember there's someone out there who has to give Donald Trump a prostate exam. For some, literally, for others, just figuratively.
How about we go to Marco? You can talk a little bit about what's going on, and
well,
go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President. I don't know one day perhaps the entire story will be told about the events of yesterday, but I suffice it to say it's not an exaggeration that none of it would have been possible without the President of the United States being involved.
Those are all his people, though. You know what I'm saying? Those are all his people.
How difficult it is to get.
Let me see here. Trump was asking. Let me see here. And then also, I believe Putin has some things to say about it too.
As to Trump and the Nobel Prize, it's not up to me to decide who should win the prize. And I don't think anyone present here will object, or anyone from your audience will object. There have been cases when the Nobel Prize committee gave the Peace Prize to people who did nothing for peace. And in my opinion, those decisions damaged the prize's authority and understanding on the Russian side about where we can move and what can be done to resolve this conflict through peaceful means. And those are not simple issues. So we agreed with Donald that I will go back to Moscow and think about this issue and consult with my allies. And he said the same. This is a complicated set of questions that require a thorough review. But we're still grounded in that discussion that took place in Anchorage. We don't change.
I'm not sure if he's still talking about Trump and the Peace Prize, but let me see here.
This is the world's first reusable cotton swab. It can remove up to 10 times more earwax.
Israeli officials are debating the U.S. brokered deal with Gaza amid reports of strikes along the Strip. The ceasefire expected to go into effect 24 hours after that meeting ends. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin.
And support
And appreciate the Palestinian national framework in which Hamas will be included. Now, I don't want to dispute.
to the Palestinians that they can run their own.
Remarkably, that Hamas agrees.
I think that
have for 2 years.
So see, eyes on Prime Trump, the next president. So I guess they're saying since he got this peace deal here, this is 16 hours ago since he got this peace deal here done. I guess they're saying that he's a shoo-in for the Nobel Peace Prize. I knew he was really pushing a lot for the Nobel Peace Prize. Let me see here. And then here's the announcement. Okay, here, 20 hours ago. Okay,
you have time and again
because this is the leading up to the announcement.
One should not underestimate Mr. Trump's negotiating ability. Do you personally believe that Mr. Trump deserves to win the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow?
Oh, well, I think that's probably a decision that comes from the Nobel Committee. And my take is that there are 2 key pieces that have to be solved in the big picture. One is in the Middle East, and we're seeing the results of that. And then the other one is between Russia and Ukraine. And once those are solved, I don't see any impediments to it.
How do you rate your chances of winning the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. Look, I made 7 deals, and now it's 8. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives.
You did, and you.
Man, you're participating in a genocide. Let me. Okay, so remember the name of this series is called Narcissism Network, and you should stay away from narcissists. I mean, the only thing that work with these idiots are no contact. You know, if you are having a conversation with a narcissist, you already fucked up. I mean, you fucked up really bad. You should not even having a conversation. You shouldn't be not thinking with a narc. So even if you're engaged with a narc, you know that you've already lost the game, right? Because you're already in their world. Let me help you understand the seriousness of the cognitive dissonance that narcissists have, right? It's the ability to ignore what's happening out there in reality and hold on to this internalized belief system that they themselves believe is real. And it has the type of quality where they completely ignore that it's a genocide. So for example, when you're dealing with a narcissist, they can only see the things within their ego. They can't see anything outside of their ego, meaning they can only see their perspective. They do not have the capacity to see your perspective. And I'm trying to help you see how deep this lack of ability to engage with your perspective or your side, how deep this runs. It runs to the extent where you can be flat out psychotic and delusional, committing a genocide in front of everyone and then saying, hey, I should get the Nobel Peace Prize, right? But you've ignored an event that's never taken place, like on streaming a genocide. It shows the cognitive dissonance here. And Trump's ego only believes itself. It doesn't have the capacity to look at things outside of himself. So that's why he calmly insults people, why he does it on a regular basis, and he doesn't feel any remorse because he doesn't have the capacity to look at it from anyone else's perspective. If you had the ability to look at things from other people's perspective, you can anticipate how they're going to react, and you should anticipate how they're going to respond, right? And you know from lessons, if you put something out there, it's coming back, right? Because you can look at it from the other person's perspective. But Trump's, there's nothing out there when he targets someone. No one's coming back. Yeah.
Obama got a prize. He didn't even know what he got. He got elected, and they gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing but destroying our country. No, he was not a good president. The worst president was Sleepy Joe Biden. But Obama was not a good president.
Are you going to do something with the
narcissists always have to devalue you. They always have to devalue you.
How many months after he won the election, then they gave him the Peace Prize? Right?
It was right afterwards.
My election was a much more important election.
I don't think so. Okay, let's go to an announcement. Is this announcement here? Okay, well, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go to the Nobel Prize themselves. Sorry for the commercials, folks. This is free YouTube.
President Trump getting praise across the board after securing that historic peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who had a major hand in those negotiations, pins the success on Trump's diplomacy.
Yesterday was a human story. And because of the work you put in, and honestly, there is no, not only is there no other leader.
Oh, this is his team
Mr. President,
pumping him up.
I don't know of any American president in the modern era that could have made this possible because of the actions you have taken unrelated to this.
Joining us now is U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker. Matt, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is no small thing for the president to maintain close relationships with the
Tomorrow, the Nobel Peace Prize Committee will announce likely the most anticipated award since it was first awarded in 1901.
I saw the announcement by the Nobel Prize. Okay. Announcement. Let me see here. Okay.
The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace, to a woman who keeps the flame of democracy burning amidst a growing darkness.
Now, this is remember, this name of this podcast is Narcissism in the Network, and I'm trying to help you understand that when you deal with a narcissist, you're dealing with a group of people. I mean, this is a group of people who are intentionally engaging you for a purpose that benefits them all, right? Okay, now it's important that you understand when you're around them, because when you're surrounded by these things, that's that legendary term when they say, I'm surrounded by darkness, right? So when you're surrounded by these idiots, these narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, you are surrounded by darkness. And the reason why is they specialize in creating realities around you, and they can change them at any moment. So they change from one perspective to another without letting you know. And so when everyone switches to another viewpoint, you remain alienated. And they use this alienation as a tool to sort of target people and move people, because it's the perfect crime. It creates psychological, emotional torment that cannot be dissipated just because you're in close proximity to other people. Meaning when these narcissists group together and begin alienating you, you can't, because you are in a group, you still can't get relief from the alienation, right? So being in a crowd doesn't break the alienation that the narcissist in that group feels. The alienation can only come from a group, not from from an individual. If you have an individual who's ignoring you, you just have a beef. If that individual is a part of a group and the entire group changes their viewpoint but never lets you know what their viewpoint is, then you're alienated because you no longer have a way to communicate with the people around you, right? And that's what they specialize in. So the Nobel Committee is a very important institution in our society. And I believe the Nobel Committee vowed to express empathy, right? Vowed not to entertain Trump's perspective, vowed not to engage in Trump's reality, right? From the Nobel Peace Prize perspective, they're going to have to give it to the person who's pursuing, the real person who's pursuing peace, not the person who's committing a genocide and then saying, and then marketing for peace. This is the dark Trump and his team's attempt to try to persuade the Nobel Prize Committee to the point where they would have given him the Nobel Prize, is his attempt to try to corrupt the whole institution. It's a global attempt to disrupt the institution. If the Nobel Peace Prize Committee fell under the control or influence of Trump or any of these religious zealots, then we'll see a huge distortion in our entire society. At that point, there's no way you can trust who actually won the award, right? If Trump was ability to persuade them. Now, the fact that they remain unpersuaded is a good thing. It gives us hope it gives all of us hope, because there are institutions that are drawing boundaries with this level of darkness. They won't be able to get the moral, the psychological, or the moral superiority by winning, by getting recognitions like this. These are thugs, and they have the biggest weapons, and they've wielded them in front of everyone, and they've determined that they will use these weapons at any point they want, because there's no one on the planet who can't stop them. So trying to take over things like Nobel Peace Prizes, try to make themselves seem to be more moral, to cover them for their crimes against humanity, is their main game. They have to get rewards like this in order to try to stay legitimate. In addition, it's so important. It is so important that this institution didn't buckle, right? Let me move on a little bit further, but I wanted to just point out the degree of the cognitive dissonance. See, the thing is that when you're dealing with a narcissist, you really have no idea the extent that they will go through and sacrifice themselves just to win that one argument with you. I mean, they will take it all the way to life and death just to win that one little argument. And it gets to this extent where they get that delusional that they think they should have a Nobel Peace Prize when they're doing a genocide.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado. She is receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela, and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. As the leader of the democratic forces in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado is one of the most extraordinary examples of civilian courage in Latin America in recent times.
Yeah, going up against a dictator in Latin America
has been a key unifying figure in a political opposition that was once deeply divided, an opposition that found common ground in the demand for free election and representative government. This is precisely what lies at the heart of democracy, our shared willingness to defend the principles of popular rule, even though we disagree. At a time when democracy is under threat, it is more important than ever to defend this common ground.
No offense.
And then why should Trump get the Nobel Prize? He's trying to take over. Okay, let me see who is Maria. Let me see who this lady is. Let me check her out. A lady, huh? Yeah. 58. Okay, Yale University, right? Ricardo. She was married from, women politicians in South America, they're really tough. I remember reading the autobiography on Velma Ruscos, the lady in Brazil, and how she was a part of a military group in the forest. They're really tough. Very tough women. Okay, let me see here. In times of India, who's the Nobel Prize winner? Maria Corina Machado, all about her personal life and family. Maria was awarded the Nobel Prize in 2025, often called Venezuela Iron Lady, for her fearless fight for democratic rights. She was also recently featured in the Time magazine list of 100 most influential people in 2025. The Nobel Committee said it chose Mercado in recognition of her tireless work in defending democracy and her efforts to lead Venezuela towards a peaceful and fair transition from a dictatorship to a democracy. And I'm not sure Venezuela is a dictatorship. I don't know if that's just Western media's perception of it or presentation of it. Oh, is this her? Oh, wow.
In a few minutes, it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
So enormous congratulations.
I can only
to you,
imagine
Maria.
for a woman politician in Latin America,
Oh my God.
how dangerous that is. Politics in Latin America is serious.
Oh my God. Well, I have no words. Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Yes.
Hello?
Am I talking to Maria Corina Machado?
Yes, this is Maria Corina.
Yes, Maria Corina. My name is Christian Bergard Piken. I am the secretary of the Norwegian Nobel Committee in Oslo. And I'm calling to inform you that in a few minutes, it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
Amazing. Amazing. So let me see. Okay, let me go back to Google. Let me just go to this AI. Okay, let me do AI mode here. Okay. Let me see what her political career. Okay. She's a Venezuelan oppositional politician and pro-democracy activist. Okay. Political career. She's an industrial engineer by training. Mercado founded the civil society group in 2002 and promoted free and fair elections. And in 2010, she was elected to the National Assembly, where she served under until she was expelled in 2014. Yeah. See, you don't make any progress until they kick you out. Right. She is the national coordinator for the Rights Center. Right. See, this is if she was expelled, I love her. Oh, she's expelled. I love her, man. 2024 presidential election. Primary victory. Machado won the opposition primary by a landslide in November 23 with over 92% of the vote. Wait a minute. Okay, government ban. Despite her primary victory, Venezuela government barred her from running in 2024 presidential election. A decision was held by the Supreme Court. Whoa, whoa. Okay, surrogate candidate. After being blocked, she named Corina Yoris as her replacement, but Yoris was also prevented from registering. Mercado and the opposition then rallied behind former diplomat Edmundo Gonzalez as their candidate. Okay, great. All right. So basically, she had the presidential election stolen from her. Wow, I see that. Though politics in South America is tough. Yeah. Post-election activities. After the disputed election in which Maduro was declared the winner, Mercado went into hiding within Venezuela, fearing for her safety. Yeah, she has remained a key oppositional voice, staying in touch with supporters via social media. International recognition for her activism. Mercado received several international accolades, including 24. The Human Rights Award, and that prize, Political View, as a prominent critic of Chavista, that's the other president, socialist movement. Mercado has advocated for liberal economic reform, including the privatization of state-owned entities like the National Oil Company, Petrobras. That's been dubbed Venezuela Iron Ladies by some observers. So this is really interesting. Let me see if I can Let me see here.
Zero helps me take my business anywhere I want.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has won the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Committee recognized Machado's, quote, tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. She is now living in hiding after last year's election that the country's longtime president is accused of stealing. This is the moment she got the call.
I have no words. I'm honored, humbled, and very grateful.
I'm honored too. I think that's all I have to say for now. So the point, I don't want to get into politics at all. That this series is narcissism as a network. And when you're dealing with a narcissist, you're actually being attacked by an entire network that needs you for a purpose or many purposes, right? And to help you understand how deranged, how sick, and how disturbed these people are, they're in front of you, but they're attached and devoted to completely different views and completely different ideas. Their main point is to exploit you, is to harm you, to ultimately unalive you. These narcs, psychopaths, and sociopaths are not kidding, right? So as you can see how deranged people who are doing a genocide would actually expect a Nobel Prize. This shows the degree of cognitive dissonance and the degree of psychopathy and the degree of psychoticism that these narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths display. And it's not just Trump displaying that flagrant, just glaring lack of insight. It's all the narcissists. It's even the ones who are standing in front of you. It's just the mask they put on mirrors you, so you don't never see or understand or really comprehend the true extent at which they will go to things to harm you, right? And they'll go all the way to the extent where it becomes psychotic and delusional, right? And so anytime you draw that boundary with a knot, they're going to clap back, right away. And when they clap back right away, they're going to punish you based upon the severity of those delusions they had, right? And so the narcissist has delusions and is psychotic inside the head. And when they engage with you, they just put on the mask and they just mirror you. But all the while, they're peeking through that mask, studying you, trying to do everything they can to put you in that vulnerable position so they can ultimately torture you, harm you, steal from you, take from you, and ultimately unalive you and still have you walking around here. Let me see if I can answer some questions here. Hey, Ali, how's it going, buddy? Let's see here. So here I have that other. What do you mean by narcissism as a network? When you are engaging with a narcissist, you're engaging with a person, but that person's psychological functioning, their ego, was intentionally damaged to the extent where they don't have the ego has two components, this internal component and the external component, which is everyone around you. They damage the internal component, so you're dependent upon everyone around you, particularly them, for everything, particularly for your perception of the world, your all of these things. So if you are engaged with a narcissist, you are actually being attacked by a network. So that's what it means. Narcissism is a network. Thanks to other. It says here, what if one talks to us? Run, run. These people do not have a conscience, and so if they're engaging with you, they're engaging with you for a good reason. They want something from you, right? And they're not going to stop until they get it, right? That other, yeah, how's it going, other? So the narcissist cannot think about other perspectives. The narcissist does not have the ability to think about anyone's perspective for themselves. They don't have the ability to do that, That's why their behavior is always 100%, right? So you may hear I recall narcissists will not do anything. You have certain type of narcissists who definitely would not do anything to help you, right? Absolutely anything that would benefit. So when you look at these people throughout your life, they never ever missed an opportunity to harm you whenever they had it, right? And then if you look at all the consequences you had, they always selected the most severe. And that's something you're just going to have to watch the patterns in your life. You're just going to have to watch that in the patterns in your life. Look back to the people who hurt you the most and everything. And I do this. Go back and look at some of the times that you were doing your worst. Go figure out that time you were doing your worst, right? And then go to your Facebook page and see who are all the people around you on your Facebook friends list. Then you see the person, boom, right there. Yep, the narc is there. And then, like, if you had some type of traumatic event, usually something just happened with a narc. But from your perspective, you may not go back. You may not be able to see the relationship with the two. But if you go ahead and write down a list of your most traumatic moments, and then go back to your timelines and put down the names of all the people who were there. And as you go through each event, all the cluster of people, you're going to start seeing names pop up on all the lists. Yep. Now, that's when you identify the one in front of you that's harming you directly. Now, remember, narcissism is a network, so you're being attacked by a network. So this narcissist in front of you, and you'll see that person throughout all of the photos or the events connected to it somehow, in the photos or in the background or holding the camera, or they had to go to the bathroom when they took the picture. See, that's identifying that narc. Now, I'm going to show you how to identify who that narc is working for. So who that narc is, and then who's their mother, who's their father, or who's their brother, right? Who's connected to them? Now, let's say it's that narc's brother, right? So you don't know who, so you got a list of people who's connected to the narc, but you don't know who is it, who this narc represents. If that narc is from a family, it's a whole family, right? It's the whole family. But the person who's primarily targeting you through the narcissist you're in the relationship with, whether or not it's a work relationship or whether or not it's an intimate relationship or just a friendship, you will never see the person. That's the trait of them. See, narcissists intentionally destroy their children so they can use their children as sort of like to live by proxy, like satellites, to collect as much information about targets and about people as possible. So they always have that narc out front doing the dirty work, engaging with you. But what that narc does is feeds them all of the information. And you will never see these people. You will only see these people at the beginning of your relationship with the narc, and then they disappear, never to be found again, but they're hiding in the background. That's what makes the stalking so effective. And now it's been turned more like gang stalking, right? So let me show you how this stuff is set up. So let's say you went to college and you met some new person, right? And y'all got together, things are doing very well at school and everything, very empathetic person, all this and everything. Pretty got some issues, but this and that really good. But then go home on meet her family, and mom is there in the background, not engaging with you, but still observing, but ambivalent, right? No, it's not. The word is not ambivalent. They remain. Either you do, either you don't. I don't care. They they don't engage with you at all. But they're not dismissive. They're not, it's just like an absence presence. They're there, but they're absence. And it's strange, you go over someone's house and the parent behave like that, right? So you're really in a relationship with that superior narc, but they're never going to engage with you. Because why? Because they engage with you by proxy. And everything that you are telling this person is going to that person. And that the narc in front of you is just a vessel, like a mirror, that's communicating all the experiences of the narc that unalive them. Right? Here, the narcissist. The narcissist is a group of people. A narcissist is a person who's emotionally immature, about the same level as a child. Emotionally, they're children, but they're in adult bodies. But when they decide to plot on you, they become a group. And narcissists never do anything by themselves. They are the ultimate cowards. I mean, they will never enter a fight without already knowing that they're going to win the fight. Otherwise, they will never fight. They'll never fight fair. They'll never enter a fight where they have to actually fight. They enter a fight where they are required to win. Right? And that's a different mindset. So and you can't trust the narcissist. If you're in a fist fight, they're going to have a knife on them. If you're in a knife fight, they're going to have a gun on them. Right? If they check you before, making sure you don't have any weapons, they're going to have a friend that brings a gun in. So when you start whooping on them, then that's when they come out the bag and it gets disorderly. That's when they have to cut you. Right? That's the type of people you're working with. So, and it's a group of them. They hang out in groups. Next, here, but doesn't the narcissist want to tell you about his viewpoints? The narcissist wants you to live inside of his viewpoint. The narcissist don't want you to have any viewpoint other than theirs. Isn't that the way you find out about it? That's that quality. It's called egocentric. They're ego focused. Me. All the narcissist wants to lead your experiences for you. So when you together in a narcissist, it's what they want to do. It's where they want to go. It's how they want you to perceive things the way they want you to put. They want to do it on their time. They want to be the center of attention. They want the evening to revolve around them, not you. Right? And when you start seeing those traits in people, hey, listen, you better be careful with those. Right? Wait, a narcissist is a psychopath and a sociopath. They're like slight differences. Right? Narcissists are like lions. They take over organizations and structures, and they try to become alpha dominant so they can impose their will on others. That's sort of like a narcissist, like a group-like animal, like a lion. But the psychopaths are different, right? The psychopaths are not like lions that hang together in a group. A psychopath is like a panther that creeps in the bushes and stay there where no one sees them and things like that. That's the stalker who doesn't abuse people, doesn't hurt people at work, the nice, quiet guy at work, getting a cup of coffee and you always seeing the coffee break room and everything, more like a mouse than anything, right? But then serial killers, torturing people, locking people in dungeons and everything with no empathy themselves, but they're doing all this by themselves. It's not like the narc is going to get that team together. That's why the narc has to go to everyone around you. I mean, the narc has to spread rumors to everyone around you, still even working as a psychiatrist in mental health, in psychiatries, I still have to deal with sick narcissists all the time. I have this 150-year-old something narc been targeting me for like 4 years because he wished he was a doctor, right? So the guy wishes he's me. So he has this pathological jealousy. So He's very structure oriented. And so he has to go around to every person in the organization and Dr. Reed this. Every conversation is about Dr. Reed, and this is a grown man. You ever been stalked by a 50-year-old man? Let me tell you, I mean, these people are sick. People are sick of being stalked by like a 50-something-year-old man how the hell you keep talking about a man? You know? But these people are sick. And so this sick idiot have to go around spreading rumors about me all the time. Every time. Why? Because he has to control the narrative. He has to control the thing. He wants everybody to live in his world, right? He wants everybody to see things from his perspective. That's why he has to go around. But that's what caught him, right? Anytime you go out and start talking, that's when you get caught. So that's how eventually he got caught. Well, he is caught. Don't know it yet, though, but let's see here. Okay, should I go and see the moment when I was on my worst and look at someone to blame? How about not someone to blame, but someone who did it to you? Are you serious, doctor? Hey, healing is learning. Ignorance is suffering. So if you have a narcissist that's intentionally attacking you and you've had some of your worst moments and you refuse to look in your timeline to see who are around you at the moment, really? How are you going to stop it from happening again? And then why are they doing that to you? Why? And they don't have the right to do that to you, do they? And shouldn't they get consequences for their behavior? Shouldn't other people know about this? Of course. If you go back and you look at your timeline and you start to see that it's the same person or the reoccurring people, hey, you have a problem on your hands. That's why I'm telling you, narcissism is a network. You need to leave. Simple as that. I think that's all I have for today, guys. We hear narcissism is a network. So remember, if you're in front of that narcissist, you're not dealing with an individual, you're dealing with a network. And these unconscious animals will unalive you. Reed here. You guys take care. Ciao.